Hey there, hey, happy Wednesday, whatever day you're listening to this on. So, I recorded a whole intro and then it didn't record on my mic. That was lame. So, we're going to start this over again. I hope I remember because I was like getting into it. But anyway, if you have ever felt overwhelmed by trying to stay consistent in your marketing and your sales efforts or just in your business in general, like you're like, okay, my goal is to be consistent or I want to be more consistent, but you find yourself in this constant struggle of how do I juggle being a mom, having a business, all the life obligations that I have, I got you covered on this. I'm going to share with you 3 simple strategies that's going to keep you on track so that you can show up for your business and for your family and for your life without the burnout. But I think the key that I really want you to think about throughout listening to this is I want you to be able to problem solve when you do find yourself on the other side of being consistent. When you find yourself in that moment where you're like, I'm not being consistent, I want you to know how to get yourself back on track because I think we talk a lot about be consistent, be consistent, be consistent without the grace necessary to be like, you know what? Life does life for us moms, right? Like we have obligations. And so things are going to get off track. How do we come back from that? And that's also something that we're going to talk about. Because one thing that I've noticed, and this is just something that I can only speak for myself, okay? I can only speak for me, but your brain knows you're a liar. Okay. Your brain knows you're a liar. You say you're going to do something, right? Or let me say this. I say I'm going to do something and I don't do it. Okay. For example, plenty of times I've said, I'm going to post every single day on Instagram. And then my kid gets sick. And then, the next day I'm like, oh, well, I'm tired because said kid was sick. So I don't post then. And then the next day I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to create like this plan so that if this happens again, I don't have to worry about it. I'm going to be on top of it, blah, blah. And so I'm going to create like this 3-week plan so I don't post. And then the next day I'm like, okay, I'm going to create the content and I'll start on Monday. And then Monday comes and I never create the content. So I don't post on Monday. And the cycle just keeps going, right? Where every day I have another reason why I haven't posted. Or maybe I'll post one day and then don't post 2 days. And then I'll post one day. There's always this constant cycle or spiral of struggling to be consistent. And one thing I want to say is as a mom, like I would never be the person to be like, that's an excuse. You need to overcome it, blah, blah, blah. Because the truth of the matter is that as moms, we are, I don't want to say fighting for our lives, but we are working dang hard. Okay. We are sustaining life literally. And then we are fulfilling any life obligations that we have and being a good partner, a good wife. We're doing all these things. And so I'm not going to say that it's an excuse, but what I will say is that we have to be honest about our situation, right? One thing I won't do, I won't lie to me. And so I want you to do like a heart check. Okay. I want you to do a heart check and say, what is going on that I'm not able to be consistent the way I want to? And when I asked myself that question, the answer was I lacked discipline. As soon as something would happen, I would use that as oh, well, let me just start again, or let me just try another time, instead of having that perseverance to push through that situation, or I didn't have the resilience to bounce back from it. And so it's important that we're honest with ourselves and that we're able to identify, okay, but here's like the root of it. Yes, life happens, things happen, and there's grace for that. But also that doesn't mean that I should take the next 3 weeks off just because this one small thing happened, right? And kids getting sick, that's not necessarily small, but when you are just slipping because you slipping, right? So be honest with yourself. One thing that I realize is that we have to implement very intentional strategies to keep us on track to help us out when life is lifing. So I'm going to share with you the 3 strategies that I have implemented and that I have found that have worked for a lot of clients across the board. So the first strategy is the importance of being for real. Okay. Let's be for real. Okay. We have to create achievable goals, right? People always talk about SMART goals, this, that, and the third. Blah, 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 blah. Listen, I get it. I think that's cute. I think it's cool, right? And for some people, it works. Y'all hear my kids yelling in the background, but I think it's cool. It works for some people. But as moms, we got a lot going on. Okay, we got a lot going on between keeping up with the kids' schedules and managing our businesses and being consistent with our marketing and posting content, selling, getting on sales calls, being in the DMs. All these things take time, and it can feel impossible to keep up. And then on top of that, we gonna say, oh, my goal is to post every single day. Girl, be for real. Be for real. Do you actually have the time for that? Do you actually have time for that? So instead, sometimes we set these goals, and I even have clients and they'll be like, my goal is $10,000 a month. And I'm just like, Be for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying don't dream big. And I know this is so counter with everybody because everybody's like, dream big. Your goal needs to scare you. This, that, and the third. And I'm just like, no, be for real. Like, be for real. Is this something that is realistic for you right now? Because the worst thing you can do is set this big crazy goal and then lie to yourself or defeat yourself, right? Literally, your goal defeated you because you set this goal that was so just out of this world that honestly you probably didn't even believe you could achieve it in the first place. And then you sabotage yourself. You go on this cycle of, oh well, this happened so I can't do this right now, or this is going on so I can't do that. Like, be for real. Just be for real. Just be for real about what is within your realm of capability and possibility right now. And this is not me saying that you can't do great things, because you absolutely can. Baby girl, I am living proof. You can do anything you want to do, but we have to be for real about what is accessible to us right now, what makes sense to us right now. A great example of this is postpartum. Everybody trying to snap back. Okay, I was one of them. Okay, I was one of the girlies. I was like, oh, I'm gonna snap back. I can't wait. I'll drop this baby and then I'm gonna be skinny again. Absolutely not. That did not happen. I did not see a gym for a year. I didn't see a gym for a year. And you know what? There was a period that I was down on myself. I was really hard on myself. I was like, you need to try this and the third. But I realized, like, girl, being for real in this moment means recognizing that my capacity is not, I don't have the capacity. I don't have the capacity to go to the gym. I don't have the capacity to do this extensive workout or do what this TikTok influencer is doing. I don't have the capacity for that. I'm getting older. I'm getting older. And then on top of that, I'm tired. So what I'm saying here about being for real, I'm saying be for real about what your circumstance is, what your situation is, what resources do you have available? Do you have a job that is able to pay for certain things for your business? Do you have a spouse that is able to cover certain things for you, certain bills or responsibilities? Like, what do you have? What resources do you have available? And if you don't have certain resources, that's okay. Now we get to adjust and manage our expectations better. So when I say be for real, I mean, okay, let's just make this a little bit smaller. Doesn't mean that you won't eventually get to that height that you want to get to, but it does mean let's be honest about what's going on right now and put you in a better position to succeed, and start to reinforce that positive feedback loop of, oh dang, I set a goal and I hit. I set this goal and I hit. I set this goal and I hit. That is what we're trying to do. And I think that's one of the reasons why when sometimes I'll set the dumbest goals. Like, I'll set something so stupid low because I just like the dopamine hit of being like, yeah, girl, you did that. And it can be something small. Like, you went downstairs today. Check. Like, I be checking off like the most random things on my little checklist or whatever, but I enjoy the dopamine hit, right? It's rewarding to me. So I want you to, like, let's be for real. Okay. That's the first strategy. Be for real. Let's start breaking down these action steps, or not even action steps. Let's start breaking down these goals. So instead of saying, I said, you're going to post every single day, maybe instead you say, you know what? I'm going to post on Monday and Wednesdays. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to respond to my comments, right? That is, first off, that's very small, because now all you have to think to yourself is, okay, I need 2 posts. I need to put 2 things up on social media, or I need to write 2 emails, and then you're only thinking about Monday and Wednesday. You don't have to think every single day, oh my gosh, when am I post today? Oh my gosh, when am I sent today? No, it's just 2 days, right? It's just 2 days. Simplify, okay? Make things simple, make things easier on yourself, and be for real. Be for real about what you are able to do. What's your capacity right now? Because it's not fair. It's not fair to you to set this goal of every single day I'm gonna do this thing, and then you can't do it because life is real. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have a very real life circumstance going on. And again, this is not me saying that this is going to be the way forever, because there was a season where daily posting was an absolute no-no. Okay. And now my kids are older and I'm entering in a season where I'm like, you know what? I could do that challenge for a short period of time. I could challenge myself. That might be fun. Now it seems fun. We're a different stage of life. That kind of commitment was like, girl, are you crazy? What is wrong with you? Have you lost it? Are you okay? So I really want you to think, like, let's be for real, right? Let's be honest with ourselves. Strategy number 2 is to prioritize sales tasks as the bare minimum. One thing that I always say is that sales and selling is the bare minimum. And I really want you to think about, I want this to be a strategy that you use when it comes to your consistency, because a lot of times we try to be consistent in things that don't actually help us, things that don't actually move the needle forward. Again, our time is limited, right? We already know this. This is like our baseline. Okay. Our baseline is that our time is limited. And so what we have to do is we have to not allow the important things to take a back seat. And a lot of times we as moms, because it's easier, we put those more challenging tasks like selling, like creating sales content, writing sales emails, we put those things on the back burner because it's easier to tinker. It's easier to do something else than to focus on these things that are actually important, that are actually going to produce the next client for us or get us closer to signing the next client. And so I want to encourage you to embrace the strategy and the thought process of sales and selling as the bare minimum. And so this is the priority, right? The priority, if I don't do anything else in my business, I'm going to sell. I'm going to do some kind of sales activity. And so a way to think about this, and I think I talked about this in the last episode, but I really want you to prioritize your high leverage tasks. I want you to think about what are the activities that generate new leads? What are the things that grow the community, grow your MVPs, grow your true fans? So if you listen to my podcast, you know what all these things are. If you're inside Money Mama, you know all these things. But what are the activities that you can do to grow those numbers, to increase those numbers, or just to increase your conversions to actually get a sale? What are the things that you do? What are those things that you do in order to do that? So it could look like client outreach. So some business owners, like I do in my service-based business, I reach out to clients. But for other people, it might be making sure that your books are open and that you're talking about people booking sales calls, discovery calls, whatever the situation might be. It also could be creating content, right? For some businesses, like I have a client who literally our mantra is, every time you post, you make money, because every time she posts, she makes money. So in that case, it's very easy for her to be like, you know what? I don't feel like posting. But the truth of the matter is that this is a high leverage task. And so she does need to prioritize that. So I'm saying it like this because it looks different for every business. And that's the thing. Every business does things, like it's not just moms do business different, although we do. Okay, we really do. Okay, we're working in the pockets of time, we're working nights and naps, like we're doing all the crazy things. But the truth is that every business does business different, because what works for one business, it might not work for someone else. And this is why it's important that when you're thinking about, okay, what is my high leverage task? It might look different for you. It might look different for you versus what it looks like in my business. I have a coaching business and I have a photography business. And even in those two businesses, it looks different. My high leverage task inside my coaching business is completely different. Like over here in my photography business, I write blog posts. I send a couple of emails, boom, cashed out. Okay. I wish the Moms Do Business Different was just that kind of laid back and chill. Now it's laid back and chill in its own way, but I mean, I definitely do more for that business than I do for my photography business to keep them both booked out. So it's going to look different, but I want to encourage you like to focus in on, and the strategy here is to prioritize the sales activities, right? To prioritize your sales task as the bare minimum. And that's going to help you be consistent, because the truth is that inconsistency, a lot of times what we see as being inconsistent is the end result. So the end result is inconsistent sales. Okay. And then we move backwards. Oops, sorry about that. So we think inconsistent sales and then we move backwards from that point. And so the reason why I'm including this as a strategy is because a lot of times when we think about struggling to be consistent, we're also thinking about struggling with consistent revenue. And so if you want to get out of that rut, you have to focus on, okay, consistently do things like sell. And the cool part about this strategy is that it's not about, even though I am a huge advocate of selling every day, it's not necessarily about you have to sell every single day. It's about making sure that you position yourself enough so that you are able to almost sell on autopilot, right? So that people are able to find your catalog of work, your library of work, whether it's a podcast or a YouTube channel or even social media content. People are able to find that and they sell themselves. So it's not necessarily about you every single day have to, out of your mouth sell. It's about, do you have the systems and things in place that sell for you? I teach you how to do this inside Money Mama. Like I have a whole library of 12 pieces of content. I really break down different strategies for you to implement in order to sell every single day and make sales a priority. But I want you to get in the habit of thinking to yourself, like, okay, if I'm struggling with consistency, and especially if it's consistency in your sales, I want you to think about, okay, it might be because I'm just not prioritizing sales tasks or sales tactics and strategies in my business as the bare minimum. So that is the second strategy. Now, our last strategy that we're going to talk about is to leverage simple systems. Okay. I'm not a huge systems girly. I'll be honest. I'm not a huge systems girly, but I do understand the value of it. And I do understand that having a repeatable process helps you stay on top of things like your marketing, things like your sales, right? And so it's important that we have some sort of system that is in place that allows us to do things in a rinse and repeat way. Okay. And this piece is what I find really important. And this is what helps your business become more sustainable when you have a simple system that you're able to repeat over and over and over again. And this allows you to hire team members. Systems allow you to stay consistent because you have a process and you eventually make your process super simple. You know, a lot of people don't believe me when I say literally it takes me 15 minutes to produce my podcast. Once I record the episode, it takes me 15 minutes because my system is super, super clean. It's super simple. I record in one take. If I make a mistake, you're going to hear it. Okay. I don't edit out mistakes. I don't do all the extra. I might do a little bit of tweaking to my audio, like to make it a little bit louder if it needs to be, but you're going to get what you get. Okay. Sometimes the simple part of the system is not overcomplicating things, not having to do 5,000 things in our post-production or whatever. Would I like those things? Of course. Am I going to do it? Absolutely not. Or it's an area that you delegate. So maybe part of your system includes delegation, and that's okay too. It's a great idea to include some sort of delegation inside of your system, but there should still be a system. There should be a process that someone else is able to come in and follow, and they're able to just go in, do the thing, and excel at it. That's what we want to do. Simplicity is key though. We want to have a simple system, and this is something that I teach inside of my mastermind, inside of Aligned Momentum. It's a big thing that we focus on in there about like just creating the systems that are repeatable for us, but also like it could be something as simple as a content calendar. That is a system, right? Creating a calendar and creating a system on what type of content you post. What is the format? What is the strategy behind it? And having a process where it's like, okay, every month, here's the process. All I have to do is fill in the blank. But I have a piece of paper that all I do is I will write out like, okay, here are the types of content that I create. And boom, every month I just go in and I plug and play. Like it's nothing complicated. That is my system. And it takes me about anywhere from about an hour to like an hour and a half to map out all the content for the month. And that's for both of my brands. Like actually I have 3 brands. So for all 3 of my brands, I literally sit down and do it in an hour and a half because I keep it simple. I know what type of content that we create. I know the strategy behind my content. And so I really focus on, okay, this is the simplest amount of content that I can create and the simplest format for it. And so we're going to go with it. And if things happen throughout the month or whatever, and I'm like, oh, this is good feedback for next month, I'll tweak it then. But otherwise, I still keep it pretty simple. And I think at max, it's probably taking me like 2 hours to plan out all the content. But again, I have 3 different brands. So it is going to take a little bit more time. But even when I just had 2 brands or when I've just been in times where I've had 1 brand, it still takes anywhere from about an hour to an hour and a half. I've just gotten faster over time. And that's the other thing. Systems allow you to get faster over time. And so I can actually do more in less time because of my systems. So I just want to encourage you, create some kind of system. Create templates, okay? Like buy templates, okay? When I tell you I buy so many daggone templates, it's ridiculous. I love me a good template. If you want to get Kay's money, sell me a template, okay? I buy email templates. I buy social media templates. I buy plug and play, fill in the blank things. I've created these inside of Shmoney Mama, right? Like inside Shmoney Mama, I have these action plans and actually I have action plans and I have another section that has plug and play blog posts, plug and play content for social media. Like literally I give you the caption word for word. All you have to do is plug in like your specific details, but like it's plug and play. And so buy templates, have them have access to these things to create a system to make things faster for you. Because systems for me, like they get to be simple, they help things be repeatable. So I have a process, but also it helps you get faster. So you're not spending a ton of time working on one specific thing. It also will allow you to stay consistent in the fact of it will help you set like reminders or set like parameters around when you do things. So for example, I teach a very intentional follow-up strategy. And in this follow-up strategy, without a system, if you didn't have a system for the strategy, it would be hard for you to maintain your leads, right? To know and make sure that, okay, I touch base with this person, or when do I touch base with them? And it could be something as simple as a Google Sheet and Asana. For the longest time, and I actually still will do this, where I use Asana and a Google Sheet, and that's how I track my leads. That's how I track my conversations. And from there, I'm able to know exactly who I need to touch base with. I'm able to know who I just sold to, how often do I need to sell to this person. And I literally now spend like 30 minutes. Well, it's anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And that is my lead generation time. Usually it's about, I guess, like honestly speaking, it's probably like 45 minutes that I'll spend. And right now, I literally have a pipeline and I maintain a pipeline of over $100,000. So there's a potential of $100,000 in sales just from me maintaining this pipeline for anywhere from about 45 minutes to an hour 3 days a week. That is the power of a system, though, because without being able to track these things, without having a spreadsheet, without having Asana be able to like send me a update and let me know like, okay, girl, it's Wednesday, you need to do your thing. And honestly, now it's in my head, right? Like I know, okay, it's Wednesday, I need to do this. But y'all know how the weeks go. Some days of the week you forget what day it is, and so because of that, I like for Asana to like send me that reminder. But I have that reminder set, and now I'm able to keep up with and know, okay, here is my database of people that I'm connecting with, that I'm having conversations with, that want to refer me for things, that I'm referring for things. And so I'm able to keep up with these leads and these conversations, and that helps me stay consistent. The thing is with all of this is that I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by being consistent. I just want you to focus on what's most important. And if you really noticed, all these things focused on sales, on selling more. Being for real is about understanding your time that you have available to sell. That was strategy number one. Strategy number two is recognizing that sales is the bare minimum, and that's your focus. Sales is the focus of that one. And then this last one, simple systems. At the end of the day, you can have a system for anything, but the system that I gave the example of for my own business was around lead generation, which is moving people along the customer journey so that I can sell to them. I really want you to understand that the struggle to be consistent in your business happens a lot of times because one, we lie to ourselves. We're not honest about what our capacity is, what we're able to do, this, that, and the third. But it's also because we are focused on the wrong things. We're trying to look a certain way online when truthfully, what you need is to make money, right? You need to have clients, you need to have customers, you need to have people that are buying your things. Without that, what are we even doing here? And so you're always going to find yourself in a period of being inconsistent because you're not getting any kind of result. And in business, the result that we're all looking for, regardless of what you're doing, the result you're looking for is sales. I work with women that are in ministry. Okay. I work with women who they're in ministry, and the conversion they're still looking for is sales. They're still looking for clients. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing. This is not a judgment call or anything. This is a very real reality of the fact that as a business, it does need to make some sort of money in order to do what you need to do, which is provide for your home or provide for your community or whatever the situation might be. And so when we're thinking about this, I really want you, I don't just work with people in ministry, but that's an example of a group that I will work with, right? In ministry, people that I've worked with nonprofits who at the end of the day, their nonprofit still needs to make money. They need to generate money. I work with service providers. I work with coaches, right? Everybody, all of us moms, we need to make money. And if we're not, it's going to cause us to be inconsistent in the work that we do because we're like, okay, well, is it even worth it? And the reason why it's not worth it is because we're focused on doing the wrong things. And that's why with these 3 strategies, I really hope you're able to see the common thread of sales is the focus. Your focus needs to be on making sales, generating sales. Sorry if you hear that basketball thing in the back. I think my kids are playing the game. But yeah, that is the focus. That is where I want you to focus on. And I think fundamentally, I want you to think about focusing in on being honest with yourself. If you can be honest with yourself about where you are, look at your bank account, right? How much money do you have? How much money are you making? How much money are you paying yourself? If you can be honest about that, if you can be honest about what your time looks like, what your capacity looks like in the season, if you actually have the capacity to do something, if you can be honest with yourself about these things, you will be able to actually see and get the results that you're looking for. And you can also find yourself being a little bit more consistent. But also, I really want you to think about all 3 of these strategies. I just want you to ask yourself, this could be your first area of being honest. Is it that you are not prioritizing selling or sales, right? Or is it that you don't have any systems? You don't have a plan or a strategy for how you're doing things. And so because of that, you find yourself like repeating tasks over and over and over again that could be automated, right? Or it could be delegated, or it could just be simpler. Like you could just make this process a little bit simpler for yourself. I want you to be honest and ask yourself these questions. Or is it that you're not honest with yourself? Are you thinking you're being consistent, or are you consistently doing the wrong things? Therefore, you're constantly finding yourself in a downward spiral of not getting the result you're looking for. And then I also want you to kind of zoom back a little bit too and ask yourself, okay, in what I'm doing, what am I actually not being consistent in? Is it that I'm not consistent in getting a certain result? Maybe it is, a dollar amount per month, a number of clients, whatever. Or are you just actually not being consistent when it comes to doing a certain activity, right? So the example I gave earlier is like, are you not being consistent in posting every day? Because if that's the case, then that is also an area to again, we need to be honest with ourselves about capacity. Do you have the capacity for it? Or on the other end, is this actually a realistic goal right now? And I almost hate to use the word realistic because it's going to look different depending on where you are in your life and your business. Again, be for real. You know. Okay. There was a period of my life, this is the last thing I say. There was a period in my life where I was thinking to myself, okay, I need 10K months. Like I want 10K months. That was the elusive, that was like the number one goal of everybody. And then I was like fighting so hard for it for 3 or 4 months and I just wasn't getting it. There was it just 7K. Then I would have a 4K month. Then I would have a 3K month. And then I would have another 7K month. It was 10K was not happening. And then I finally was like, you know what? I'm barely willing to do the work for a 7K month, let alone 10,000. So something needs to change. And so I went back to the drawing board. I focused on, okay, getting better at selling. I focused on being more consistent in that area. I focused on, okay, is there a system that I can create? That's what led me to creating my lead generation system. And so once I did that, then I found myself in a better position to hit the 10K month. And that was because I just decided to be for real. Like, just be for real, girl. Like, do you have the capacity for this? Do you want to do the work for this? Are you willing to do what's required to get to this level? And this isn't about working more. It's about, are the things in place to do what you got to do? Like, is it in place? And for me at the time, it wasn't. After I got that all in place, it took me probably 6 months, 7 months, whatever. It took some time. I know it was closer to a year than it was not a year. But after I did that, I had my first 10K month and it was great. And I was like, oh, now I get it. Like now I get the whole idea of having a process and systems and prioritizing sales and getting better at selling and all these things. Those were lessons that I learned along the way. So I just want to share this to encourage you, like being inconsistent as a mom. First off, I feel like we just need a different word for this because it's just the rhythm and flow of life. It really is just a rhythm and flow of life. And sometimes we're in a season where we can just go, 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 go. And then other seasons, we're in a moment where we just need to chill. I just need a vibe. And that's fine, right? It's okay. Like things will work out the way they need to. We don't need to beat ourselves up about it. We just need to be honest, right? Be honest. So that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. The last thing I want to share with you is that I do have another ebook. I shared the other one last week, so I'm going to share this one this week. But I have a ebook and it's called The Simple Sales Guide. And this guide, it's really just going to give you some actionable steps to help you sell with ease. So kind of like that second point that I made to you guys, or the second strategy I gave to you earlier, talking about prioritizing sales tasks. This ebook is going to help you really simplify what I feel like are the most important sales tasks for you to do: lead generation, following up, things like that. And I give you a few templates to help you out with that. And that is all inside the guide. So check the show notes or check the description and you can grab that. Until next time, I will talk to you later, Alan.